I like that. I like that new beginning.
Also, I don't know why the video didn't play, but we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Market Down Podcast. I don't know what happened with the video there. Sorry, Danny. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this week by the full crew. We are finally all back together. Danny Hernandez, Chad Big Bad Johnson, and James Asante here to review the latest episode of AEW Dynamite. What up, John Blattner?
Yeah.
So we will start at the top of the card where we had Orange Cassidy going against Wheeler Yuta for the AEW All-Atlantic Championship match. I'm going to say right now, this was the best match on the card, so let's dive right into it. Unfortunately, at least for me, I wish this match had a lot more build, but it is what it is. And also, when did Wheeler Yuta become such a dick?
I mean, look who originally trained him. Trent and Chucky are dicks in real life.
Hey, it was just Chuck at first. Trent was never liked him, to be fair.
That's fair.
Well, Trent.
I don't know who I'm being fair to, though, but you know.
And Rocky too. Rocky was a dick in real life too. Anyway,
Sylvester Stallone.
Wheeler didn't really start the match off like too much of a dick, despite the fact that he did refuse to shake Orange Cassidy's hand and threw a wild right at him. It actually started off fairly tame as both men went back and forth, trading different pinning combinations until Orange got really close to a pin, and then Yuta rolled out of the ring. He came back into the ring, and after another solid exchange, Orange almost pinned Yuta with the seatbelt, obviously Yuta's own move, which he was taught by the aforementioned Chucky T, and Wheeler rolls out of the ring again, very frustrated. This prompts Claudio to come out from the back, come over to Wheeler, bitch slap him, and yell at him, "We're the Black Bull Combat Club. Stop with this pretty wrestling and go in there and kick his ass." And that's what Yuta did. He got back into the ring, immediately took Orange down and just started biting his forehead. Then when Orange went to the outside, Yuta hit a tope and then took Orange and threw him over the announce desk. So good start to the match. Oh, excuse me, not the announce desk, the timekeeper's there. Yeah. I still got to get that right. Anyway, later in the match, Wheeler is attempting to deliver the stomps to Orange. Orange ends up hitting him with a bunch of up kicks, gets to his feet, and then pulls Wheeler in for the hug. Wheeler responds to the hug by headbutting Orange. And then after Orange sends Wheeler to the apron, Yuta pulls Orange out and he attempts a powerbomb, but Orange counters it with a back body drop onto the apron and then hits a diving DDT to the outside. Orange then rolls Yuta back in and hits another DDT, and Wheeler kicks out of the pinfall after that. Yuta then counters an Orange punch and a beach break, which is a pretty cool sequence, is able to hit the pile driver, and Orange is able to kick out. The two exchange some pinning combinations again. Wheeler ended up using Orange's mount strap. Turnabout is indeed fair play. And eventually, Yuta has a near fall with the seatbelt, and he gets really, really close to pinning Orange Cassidy. Cassidy is able to get up first, and he lands an Orange punch, and Yuta is able to kick out of it, though just barely. Orange then hits a beach break, and Yuta kicks out again, getting up and screaming at Orange and yelling at him to finish it. Orange then hits a vicious Orange punch to Wheeler, who is kneeling down, and Orange is able to retain his title. After the match, Orange helps Wheeler to his feet and offers him the best friends hug again, but Claudio comes back out and gestures Wheeler to come to him, and Wheeler ends up blowing off Orange Cassidy. So, James, since I know you are the number 2 guy in the Wheeler Yuta fan club behind me, I'm going to go to you first to get a little bit of positive stuff. I love this match. Like I said at the top, I wish it had more build. It deserved more build than just a promo on Rampage, considering nobody watched it.
Literally in this instance.
Yep, literally.
Nobody watched Rampage.
But I'm not surprised that this led to an absolutely phenomenal match. And the starts, as we ended up seeing later in the night, of what looks to be a BCC heel turn.
I feel so justified. I feel so vindicated. I've already ditched, burned, thrown out the ashes, and peed on my BCC shirts. This is why Bryan Danielson hasn't been associated with this group in the last month, 2 months. It's because he felt their dastardly actions. I knew it. I knew he was ahead of the curve and the smartest man in wrestling. Beyond all that, beyond all that, I love this match. This is what Wheeler Yuta does. He goes away for 5 years at a time, comes back, has a banger of a friggin' match, and then just reminds everybody that he's that damn good. He is incredible in the ring. He's able to build a connection with the audience. And I know it's hard because he does go away. I know I joked 5 years at a time, but he does go away for long periods of time. And every time he comes back, he's able to find that spark with the audience again. And that is an impressive feat. And whether it's as a babyface who's building sympathy or tonight being kind of a dick, he got a good reaction. And a lot of that has to do with his partner in the ring tonight, Orange Cassidy, who is just a perennial babyface. He's always going to be loved. But these two men created magic in a hard-hitting match. This was, I think, probably Orange's hardest match, like in terms of like strong style. And I hope to see more like that. I'm very happy that Orange Cassidy is having the reign he's having. I am waiting for that title to change hands, not because I want it to, just it feels like now that he's broken all these records, he's on borrowed time. And there were multiple instances tonight where I thought Wheeler actually had him beat.
Yeah, it was close. And I know if Wheeler did beat him, we would have started the show a lot differently because Danny would have come in here with an absolute complete and total rage that we would not have been able to stop. But you're right. Like, even as a heel, Wheeler was getting to the point where I think part of the crowd almost wanted him to win. So it's amazing to me that they don't utilize this guy more. I understand he's fourth on the list of guys.
Utilize.
He's fourth on the list of guys in his own faction. But I didn't even do that on purpose. That's gonna be our fucking hashtag campaign now. Utilize Wheeler more. But yeah, I love this guy and I want him on TV more. Whether even if it's I think he wrestles on Rampage a bunch, but it's usually on Dark and Elevation.
We wouldn't know.
Yeah, hopefully though, with the start of the Ring of Honor TV show, he'll be on that more, considering he is still the pure champion. But Danny, I will go to you next because I do know that you, like I said, would have been really pissed off had Yuta won this match. But you told me before we started here that you actually really liked it and also thought it was match of the night.
Yeah, I told you that in confidence, man. I agree with John Blattner. Utilize Weedle. I think Beedrill is an underrated Pokemon, and it's actually not. It's a bad Pokemon, but I got a Mega Evolution, and that made it better.
Yeah,
but
Mega's kind of cool.
This match was fucking phenomenal, and I appreciate it so much more knowing how shitty the rest of the show was. So that really made me appreciate it even more in hindsight. But here's some things, right? Love Orange Cassidy, one of my favorites, one of everyone's favorites. If you don't like Orange Cassidy, you're wrong. Sorry, Jimothy Cornette, not you. He is fucking great. He's a star. He's over the pop he got. Made me think this crowd was going to be amazing. Turns out they were just popping for certain people. But amazing. Felt like a big deal because he was out there. And I agree with you, Rev. I think you hit the nail on the head. The story should have been drawn out more because this is something when he first left, we were talking about like, oh, I want to see Yuta and the BCC face the best friends. Like this gave me hope. I can still have my dream match of Bryan Danielson versus Orange Cassidy, where probably Cassidy goes over because who else? Everyone else beats Bryan. Why not Cassidy? Yeah. So this was amazing, and yeah, I was this is how invested I got that I was starting to get triggered. I'm like, bro, fucking Wheeler Yuta wins this fucking nobody with no charisma who hasn't done fucking shit in months walks in and beats one of the only provable draws in the fucking company. I'm gonna be pissed. I was like, this is bullshit. But that was me being fucking suckered into the match and being a mark and falling for it. And the ending was fucking great. I was pissed he kicked out of it. I'm like, he kicked out of two Death Riders or whatever, whichever the light version of Moxley's finisher is.
That's a paradigm shift.
Yeah, okay.
It's a paradigm shift.
Okay, so he kicked out of two of those. So I'm like, okay. even though to me the orange punch is a better finisher. Weirdly enough, it was really really cool, and
I know
it
why,
made
by
this
the way.
because it's better overall.
Because it's associated with the better member of the Shield, the Roman Reigns.
No, I don't care how good the Tribal Chief has been. I'd still rather watch either of the two wrestle than Roman. Also, I don't like when Roman does it. He looks stupid. So I'm a hypocrite. But this felt like such a big deal for a match that meant fucking nothing. And that's why I agree with you, Rob, that this should have been built up to more because it was so fucking good. And this felt like a really good payoff to months of storytelling, but it wasn't a payoff to months of storytelling. It was a payoff from something on Rampage that harkens back to months ago, not months of storytelling, but months ago instead. So that's really, really disappointing. Otherwise, it was a great match. When Yuta was doing Bryan's grabbing the arms and kicking, and then Cassidy kicked back and got up and just hugged him, popped the shit out of me. When this dude when Yuta was using Cassidy's roll up and Cassidy was using Yuta's roll up, popped the shit out of me. And it's crazy because I mentioned this, I don't know how many weeks ago, but before, I hate roll-ups in wrestling because of WWE. This one, and I don't like to always do that to compare the two and shut on one, but like WWE does not know how to use roll-ups, or AEW has done such a good job of roll-ups that some of them are basically finishers or signature moves in Yuta and Cassidy's case. But like Darby has his own signature, Cassidy has his own signature, Yuta, they have signature roll-ups. And that's a pop-worthy spot in a match as opposed to a cheap, overused ending to a match. Like when they win with that, I feel good. I'm like, that's good because it's a wrestling move. Like it's not bullshit. So I love that. Great match. Just I don't know why it happened, but I won't complain because it was the best thing on the show. So I enjoyed it, even despite getting a little triggered because I'm a mark.
Yeah, I don't know why it happened either. And it's one of those things I think that has been one of the recent complaints of AEW is that they're giving us good matches. It's just that either there's a severe lack of story behind them, unless it's like a single promo on a show nobody watches, or it's just the same thing that they've done for the last 3 years because that's what the character does, i.e. Jericho or MJF. So get that off of my fucking screen, you prick.
Oh my.
But no, I can understand those criticisms. And in fact, I agree with those criticisms because I think as great as this match was, it would have been a lot better had there been more build to this. And I know I've said that like 3 times now, but
I think you hit the nail on the head with that. I agree with that so much.
I know it wasn't you, Eric. Don't worry. I know who it was. Chad, welcome back. Been a while.
What's going on?
Your first match back. What'd you think?
Great first match back. Terrible first show back. But this
got lucky this last week.
Listen, I'm back. You guys wanted me here. I'm here. Let me shit on the show that you love.
Popular demand.
No, the match was fantastic. I mean, I am also a Yuta fan. Of course, I'm the biggest Orange Cassidy fan of all time. Sorry,
okay.
Danny.
Oh.
Yeah.
I said what I said. And I'm willing to fight and duel anybody.
Bro, but I don't even want to duel, bro.
Not Yu-Gi-Oh.
Wait, I was gonna say, what kind of duel are we talking right now?
Not Yu-Gi-Oh. You would beat my ass. I have no point saying I have no problem saying that. But yeah, it was great. I'm with you. I thought since I haven't watched the show in months, I thought maybe there was something I was missing, or maybe there was a storyline brewing on Rampage. But I'm glad to know that there was nothing at all. It just was a match, a great match at that. But I thought there was something surrounding it that I missed, and I'm sad that they didn't do that. Also, B-Drill is fine, guys. Come on.
Nope,
I like B-Drill.
not sure.
Design-wise, it's a great Pokemon. It's just not. It's weak. It's really weak.
I mean,
it's super weak against electric. Super weak against electric.
No, it's
fire.
not.
And fire.
It's not weak against electric. It's a bug poison.
Well,
it's not bug flying. Oh, I guess that's
Butterfree
true.
is bug flying.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Well, now that we're distracted, we're Pokemon.
Oh, yeah,
Also,
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I'm not buying a fucking ring light. Whoever.
That wasn't.
That
On
was
me.
Rev.
was
Rev
not
controls
me.
the market down.
Whoever it was, I'm not buying a ring light. I'm not a fucking OnlyFans performer.
I feel really called out because I'm using a ring light right now.
Well,
Sounds
at
like
least,
Chad's a hater. That's all it sounds
at
like.
least people
You-
like your pajamas, Chad.
Thank you. I feel like I look like T-Boz from the Creep video, but that's fine. Do you guys know? Have you seen the Creep video? Anyone?
Creep by Radiohead? Or
By
something?
TLC. Come on,
Yep.
I'm black. It's February, Danny.
I
The
can't
fuck?
tell because of the lighting in your room.
Sheesh. Now you want me to start an OnlyFans account as well.
I won't. Thank you, Eric. Thank you. I would also like to acknowledge JD's comment in the chat about AEW constantly putting on, there you go, 5-star matches but lacking in the story department. And I mean, I think that's pretty fair. I think everybody's kind of on board with that. They put on great work, looking like he's about to adopt Annie.
Oh shit.
That's fucked up.
I'm sorry, James. You were making a point, I believe.
I don't even know anymore.
It
But
doesn't matter. He's Daddy Warbucks now.
It's not me he's talking to. It's you, sir.
I think he's talking about you. He said James looks beautiful, looking like he's about to adopt Annie.
Oh, I look like
Oh,
Mr.
oh.
Warbucks.
Yeah, you look like Mr. Warbucks.
It's Daddy Warbucks, guys. Come on.
So call me Daddy.
He said Daddy Warbucks
Yeah.
first.
I did. Eric didn't. And he also, I mean,
Okay. But back to the wrestling. I think we could all
there's a
agree.
Jamie Foxx
Right now,
joke in here somewhere.
AEW is focusing on like 1 to 2 stories at most right now. At 3, I guess. But everything else is just sort of happening. Everything else is sort of drifting. Everything else is just existing in AEW. And it's a rough time right now. And I'm enjoying the stories we are getting. I am enjoying Bryan versus MJF, even though I think it's taken some weird turns here and there. I am enjoying Hangman versus Moxley. And I am enjoying the women's feud. I know I can't be more specific than that with women's feud just because of how many people
Yeah.
are in it.
You nailed it right there. That you specified by saying women's feud.
Yeah. the one feud.
Yeah, because
Um,
Jade doesn't have a feud; she just exists.
Does she? I can't remember the last thing she did.
She beat Red Velvet to go 50-0, and we haven't seen her on Dynamite since.
Yep.
Maybe
So-
on Rampage, but I don't know about Dynamite.
I think AEW really needs a reset coming out of the pay-per-view in 2 weeks. And I mean, this is I think the 3rd reset within the last like 12 months, so it's rough. It's rough.
I genuinely think a big part of why the stories have kind of been on the decline here is Hangman's not ended, but like the culmination of that was kind of like the end of the first chapter of AEW. And we said at that time, like, okay, the next chapter is starting. How are they going to write it? And they haven't really done a good job. 2, I honestly think the Bucks not really being, and I guess Kenny too, to an extent, not being as involved in the storyline, along with losing Cody, is a big deal.
Do you mean future WWE superstar Kenny Omega?
Yeah, that was a big report. They want Kenny Omega. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. And D, I honestly think that AEW needs writers or somebody else to help them create storylines because Tony Khan's trying to do all this by himself, and there's not enough White Claws and cocaine in the world for him to handle all of these people now that the roster has exploded.
So you don't see the irony in the statement you just made, though, that we've hit a point in AEW's history where you think that they need writers, whereas that was the problem with WWE.
I don't think WWE having writers was ever a problem. I think WWE having writers who not even just Vince, but I mean, yes, obviously, WWE was overwritten for a very long period of time. It was
forever.
It was too scripted. AEW needs a little more structure. I don't necessarily know I need writers, but I could say Yes,
bookers
exactly.
and idea guys and stuff.
Yes, Tony can't be the one-man booker anymore. I'm sure he gets input from some of the talent. I'm sure the talent tell him, yes, I want to do this. No, I don't want to do that. And they sort of work together on that. But at the end of the day, he's the one that's steering the ship, and that's great. But, everybody needs a first mate. Every captain needs a first mate.
Yeah, he needs to stop being Tyler Perry.
Writer, director, producer,
yeah, Tyler
star.
Perry does everything, and it's super annoying. He needs somebody to just.
I agree.
Focus on brand, and he can,
I agree.
Can I make a sweeping generalization that I have no right to make and say that I feel like all Tyler Perry movies are like mid, right? I feel like, are there any of them above mid?
There's maybe 2 or 3 that are above mid.
I agree.
Most of them are actually below mid. So
Medea.
Yeah, I feel like it's a weird like lowest common denominator that he's going for. But whatever works, makes money. So we'll say that
make money.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I asked and Chad clarified. So
to quote Tom Hanks on SNL, if I can laugh and pray in 90 minutes, that's a good movie. All right. We've gotten way off the rails here. We don't go on tangents on this podcast.
This felt very natural to me.
Oh, yeah, but we've gone
it came up pretty organically.
Yeah.
It literally just popped on screen in front of our faces.
That is a good movie, Sonic. That is a good movie.
All right. Anyway, let us though move on.
Wait, can we hold on just real quick with the Sonic thing? With the Sonic thing,
go ahead.
I feel like Sonic is a good example of listening to a fan base and adjusting accordingly. Because they actually changed it. They changed the way Sonic looked to appease the fan base that they had really, really, really upset. And then returned.
The new live action
it became
movie.
A successful movie. Like it was successful. It made money, and they made a sequel. Like
do you believe the conspiracy theory that they did that on purpose?
No, I don't.
No, and also I haven't seen the movie, but I'm just going. But they're
very good. I enjoyed the hell out of them. And then
I watched the. Why is that shocking? It's not a Crash Bandicoot movie. I wouldn't watch that fucking losers movie. I'm not gonna watch Mario's lame ass movie either. These guys are losers. They are lame ass fucking video game mascots that don't deserve to be on fucking Sony systems because they're garbage ass.
Can we put him in timeout for a little bit?
Spyro and Crash greater than Sonic and Mario. If you don't think so, then you were a child and you couldn't handle playing Crash Bandicoot. It's too hard for you.
Go see a Crash movie.
My boy Crash Stray was wild disrespectful.
What are you talking about? Crash is the best. He didn't catch no strays. I'm saying that these guys are no Crash, so why would I watch their movie?
Well, Sonic was very good, and they even used the creepy Sonic in Chippendale's new Disney movie, which was actually also really good. So
it was good. Agreed. Oh shit!
So they actually got some use out of that abomination. All right, now we're really off the rails here. So let's get back to the action. After that opening match, we had a quick backstage interview with Evil Uno and Hangman Adam Page. Evil Uno wants Hangman to stay out of the match from bell to bell. Doesn't want him to be involved at all because he says it's time for the Dark Order to be able to stand up on their own again. So good little promo just to set up the match later on tonight. After that, we had Ricky Starks promo with Chris Jericho. Starks came out and he said that it's obvious Chris Jericho doesn't want to have a rematch with him, which is weird because Jericho would be able to get his win back, but okay. So he's moving on, and Ricky pulls out an open contract to face him at Revolution. This obviously prompts Jericho to come out looking like a fancy sea urchin, and he says that the rematch will never happen because Starks isn't on his level. Then Pretty Peter Avalon comes out, and he's going to challenge Ricky Starks. So Jericho hits him with a Judas effect with the spikes on it and takes him out and makes his way down to the ring. And then Jericho's like, okay, there could be a match, but there won't be a match because I don't want to have the match because I'm better than you. You're not on my level. It was really weird. And he's like, do you think you could beat the great Chris Jericho? And then Ricky's like, yeah, no, you can't beat me. And then Ricky changes his demeanor and he meekly says, yes, you can beat me. And then Ricky goes on to say, but here's what's going to happen. You're going to sign this contract. The JAS is going to jump me, and that's all well and good. I just don't understand why you need to do this. You're the great Chris Jericho. You know, you're the first AEW champion. You're a guy who beat two legends in one night. Why do you need to use the JAS to beat me? And Jericho's like, no, wait, you're right. I am the great Chris Jericho. I don't need to use the JAS to beat you. And if I wanted to, I could sign this contract right now, add in a stipulation that the JAS was banned from ringside, and I would do that if I had a pen. Ricky goes, I have a pen, and hands Jericho the pen. Jericho writes the stipulation, signs it, hands it back to Ricky, and he goes, well, I hope you got what you wished for, but you might not want it because no one is smarter than Chris Jericho. And he walks out. And then Ricky completely changes his demeanor again, smiles at the camera, and throws a wink because he just reverse psychology the fuck out of Jericho. So I love this. It makes a face look smart. And it never happens anymore, Chad. So hopefully this is the end to this whole Ricky Starks Jericho saga. But at least there was finally some movement in it where Ricky seems to be getting somewhere.
Okay, so I missed this whole saga. And
I'm so glad I went to you first.
I missed this whole saga, but I did not enjoy this as much as you did. Apologies. It felt not out of place. It just felt kind of useless, maybe. It wasn't boring. I give it that. It wasn't boring. I mean, you put Ricky on the mic, you get, it warrants good results. Jericho, regardless of how old he is, he always gives a good go. But other than that, I kind of was like, I don't know what's going on here, and I don't know if I want to know, kind of thing, as opposed to, oh shit, I'm really excited for what's going to happen. So you guys are going to have to give me a little insight on this, but for me, it was just, meh.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the best, and sorry, James, it's kind of the best of a bad situation because, as I think Eric said in the chat and Danny briefly put up, why does Starks want a rematch with Jericho? Starks beat him. And the weird thing is, Starks does have the win, but Jericho then wanted to get the win back and just started cheating all the time, even though they haven't had a one-on-one rematch. So I think Ricky's just more pissed off that he's lost a couple of matches that have involved Jericho, where Jericho hasn't, beat him straight up. So I think that's why Ricky wants to get him back. He just wants to humiliate him again. So that is very true.
Oof. He's not wrong.
It's not. I mean, look, a win over Jericho in AEW is a big deal. It is. And I think we were all very happy when Ricky beat him at the start of this feud because it was a big deal. But every time somebody starts feuding with Jericho, James, they just get sucked into this vortex the way people used to get sucked into the Codyverse. And you end up with this where it's just like, all right, A, it's usually a little bit nonsensical. And B, it's just like, all right, fucking end this already.
See, the beauty of the Codyverse was if you didn't like it, it was really just one segment. The problem with the Jericho Appreciation Society is it's never ending. Tonight we got lucky. It was just the one segment. But typically we get Jericho all over Rampage. We get multiple segments of the Jericho Appreciation Society because there are so many members. It's rough going. It's rough going. And I know Chad was saying how this segment didn't really land with him because he missed most of it. And just in general, he thought it was kind of out of place. It's been like that since week 2 or 3 of this feud.
Cringy.
It's none of it has really made sense or taken the logical steps forward. We've talked about this in the past. We've dissected this in the past. But Jericho feuds tend to suffer from the same issue every time. It feels like it starts at the logical end point. So many of his feuds hit natural ending points, and then it just keeps going and going and going. And this is a classic example of it. They did it backwards. Ricky Starks, the man who beat Chris Jericho, is now somehow struggling to find a rematch for himself. Doesn't make sense. And just to talk about tonight's segment on its own, it was fine. I kept waiting for something else to happen, though. It felt like half a segment. Like there was no realization on Jericho's part that he got tricked, which maybe would have sold it a little bit better. I guess, but the one thing with Jericho is, while he tends to be a little too trusting, a la Festival of Friendship, he's not a dumb character. He felt like a dumb character tonight. It was weird. But I'm not going to overthink it. It was fun. It was, like you said, it's good to see the babyface outsmart the heel on certain occasions. It's rare. So we got something good out of it tonight. But I want Ricky out of this and going for a title. So March 5th is the pay-per-view?
Yes.
March 8th.
Yeah, like get him into either the TNT title picture or the All-Atlantic title picture. Like he's got to be in one of those two. Because he already faced off with MJF, so I think he should 100% have one of those titles by early April.
Yeah, just not the All Atlantic because he's not at that level. He's more at the TNT level. You know, All Atlantic's a little above his
Who's
pay
at
grade
that
right
level?
now.
Who's
at that level? Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, Billy Gunn, Danhausen, Jade, Britt. You know, like needle movers, basically. CM Punk, if he comes back, you know, he could go for that. Brian, after he loses to MJF, could, you know, go for just people who like sell merch and get reactions and make a huge difference. And Ricky's almost there. You know, him, if he came straight from MJF to Orange Cassidy, sure, but this Jericho feud's really lowered his stock a bunch, you know what I mean? But anyway, I agree to an extent. I do think that the segment was whatever, and this feud is, but it's at least there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Like there's an end point in sight. So I'll just ride the fucking storm through for a couple weeks. But yeah, all of Jericho's feuds are backwards. Well, not always, but like this feud is completely backwards, where Starks won clean from the bat, and then now he's for some reason he's begging for a rematch, and it makes no sense. And as far as there was a comment earlier, Eric said about how they are having like TV rematches onto the pay-per-view and shit, and how they were good at not doing that. That was true, but I just feel like Tony Khan's booking philosophy has completely changed since Brawl Out, which is good because, you know, look at all the matches we didn't get because he was holding off, and then people either left or got bullied out of the company by the Elite, or, you know, whatever the reason they're not here now is, which I think that covers all the reasons that people aren't there now. But, you know, like we never got Cody CM Punk. We never got CM Punk Bryan Danielson. We never got Proud and Powerful versus Lucha Bros. Like there's so many matches we could have had that didn't get because we're holding off for that special match. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask. But it's, you know, so he has changed that mentality about it. But then that's also somehow led to more rematches at the same time, which is okay to a degree. I think they're putting their foot on the gas a little too much in that regard, but still, at the end points in sight for this, so I'll take it in this case. I'll just deal with it for the next couple weeks. March 5th? So, like, that's next Saturday or Sunday. Well, it's one more week of this. That's it. And then it's one more Dynamite, and then the pay-per-view. And then that's it. We'll live.
Yeah. You know, I always try to defend things around here, and I do think there is a way where you could have started this feud with Ricky winning and beating Jericho, who we thought it was going to be Jericho slumping type of run there, and then just never materialized.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
There was a way where Ricky wins and Jericho is enraged, and it leads to a feud. And I guess that's what we got. But like the way it was done was just so poorly done that it has just resulted in the feud being booked backwards, like you guys said. So, yeah, this isn't the best feud. Hopefully Ricky wins at the pay-per-view when he has two nice big wins over Chris Jericho. But I don't think the feud itself has done much for him on the whole.
My God, if Starks loses the Jericho rematch, I don't know if I could watch Jericho for a while.
Yeah, I'll be heated. I'll be really heated.
Yeah.
And I'm nervous, too, because he wrote the JAS can't come out to ringside. And I'm like, what if some other schmuck comes out and helps him win? And I don't want any fucking part of that.
We finally get Powerhouse Hobbs back on TV.
Did they ever pay off that Impractical Jokers thing? Maybe they help Ricky win. Just, I don't know. Yeah, something. I just feel like something's going to happen, and it's going to piss me off to no end. But Ricky Stark's Prayer Circle, Sunday, March 5th at 6 o'clock. Everyone be there.
The Prayer Circle is hilarious.
there was a seance for Evil Uno on Reddit before the match even happened.
Jesus Christ.
It wasn't even a prayer circle, it was in memoriam.
Yikes.
All right, let's move on to the next match, which was the Acclaimed versus Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. Before we even get to the match, Danny, what did you think of Caster's rap? Because I thought it was pretty fucking good.
I thought it was great. I thought for like the first time in a long time, he just powered through the pop and didn't give up like a pause, because he always has a punchline and then a really short line so he can fit that pop in between. But he's like, fuck that shit. I'm rapping through the pop. Great rhyme in Phoenix with penis. Great shit there. But I love the last line. I love the SAWFT. So good. Bring back Enzo. Enzo and Cass versus the Acclaim. That's the only way I'll accept them not being in the title scene, even though that should be for the titles. Make it happen. You have a comment, James?
Question. We're all in kind of agreement now. Enzo can come back, right?
Oh, 100%. I am. At the end of the day, you got to look at a guy like that and think he's probably a dick.
Yeah.
But if he was proven innocent and he didn't do that, then okay, he's just a dick. He's not a monster. So who cares? Bring him back. He's entertaining.
Yeah.
He's fucking. Oh God, I don't care, man. If he was found guilty, my tune would be different. But he's one of the few times where I'm biased and I'm like, oh, he's found innocent. Cool. Like, I just bring him back, please. Like, put him on TV, please.
Enzo versus Caster.
Yes. And then after that, he moves on to MJF and puts him in his fucking place. So amazing.
I don't even think Enzo's a dick. It feels like he's really annoying.
He's a dick.
No, he's a dick. You don't like, after what happened, you don't put out a brand of underwear mocking the situation.
That's also fair. I forgot
about
the rap.
That is shitty. All right, but don't bring up shit like that because I'm trying to, trying to pretend he's not that bad.
He didn't break any laws. He didn't hurt anybody. He's just a dickhead. Mm-hmm. I think that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know about the underwear thing. I remember the raps. That was bad. The consensual penis line was.
Oh my God. All right. So anyway, I take back what I advocated for, and I think we should move on.
But yeah, not great. I think he would also be terrible in that locker room. That would be my guess. Anyway, as for the match itself, it was
not with
standard. Hook. It was pretty standard during the commercial, and up until the commercial, excuse me. And then the Guns once again came out onto the ramp to distract the Acclaim, and Big Bill and Moriarty will take advantage and start beating down Caster. Eventually, he tags in Bowens, who comes in, cleans house, and then he goes over to scissor Billy Gunn before hitting a move on Moriarty. But Moriarty uses that time to recover and make a counter, and then Big Bill comes across and boots Billy off of the apron. Caster then drives Big Bill into the barricade, and the Guns use this time to come over and come kick the shit out of their father, which, even though they're bad guys, is a sentiment I can understand. And this causes the Acclaimed. Took James a second.
I mean, I agree. Fuck dads,
The Acclaimed, except Papa G. The Acclaims get up and they go after the Guns and chase them through the ring. And as they're going through the ring, Big Bill goes after Caster and takes him down, but Caster is able to recover. He puts Big Bill into the steps. Then on the inside of the ring, Bowens gets hit by a Moriarty move. I don't even remember what it was. This all happened so fucking fast. I wasn't able to write it all down. But then Bowens hits, the Arrival on Moriarty, then tags in Caster for the mic drop, and they end up picking up the win. So Danny, obviously back to you because it's the Acclaim. Good match. I guess we're keeping the feud going here, but I didn't see much more past that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. After the wrap, there's not much of substance here. I mean, I think an important thing to note is that the Acclaim were wildly over, which is good because last week it felt a little bit like the loss of the Guns dampened them a bit. But this was what, like maybe like second loudest pop of the night behind Brian. So, you know, that was fine. And yeah, why couldn't they do this with the titles, Eric? Great fucking question. There's no reason, but yeah, there's not much to say really. They needed a win. That's good. And, you know, Cass, Bill, whatever you want to call him, whatever. I'm not going to lie. After the start of the show, even though the show started with a fucking amazing match, and not having a lot of substance or hype or build, and then to see the Tron of Lee Moriarty, I'm like, oh no, this show is not good. This is not good. It's taking a fucking cliff dive. Oh man. But then the Acclaim came out, I felt better. But you know, whatever. I don't understand this feud. I think again, this was a big misfire. And I think now we're living with the consequences of it, that the tag title scene is plummeting, where the Acclaim were holding it more than on their shoulders. And now the titles are, the Guns are tripping over them. That's how low they've fallen. And then we'll talk about it when we talk about the Battle Royal, but this tag division's a fucking mess right now, and it's really depressing.
I got into an argument with somebody online about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, where
What was your first mistake? You got in an argument.
Yeah, why you get into arguments with people online? What's wrong with you?
Because the world needs to know I'm right and they're wrong.
Oh,
that feels obvious.
That was earnest, and I accept that.
It's logical.
Thank you. They were arguing that the trios division is actively hurting the tag division, and I don't think that's the case. I just think the tag division kind of sucks right now. Like, at most, you could say it's been keeping the Bucks away. For a little bit, it was keeping the Lucha Bros away. And for a 2-week period, it kept Top Flight away. I don't think that if you take 3 teams away from a division with a roster that big, that a division like that should fall apart. So I don't blame the trios division. I just think we're dealing with a really empty division right now.
I mean, that's a fair
weird,
point,
right?
No, but look at it from last year. Last year, we had Jurassic Express, which we'll get to. We had
FTR.
Yeah, FTR. We had Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. We had fucking so many. We had Swerve in Our Glory, world-renowned, famous tag team. Everyone knows them for being tag team wrestlers. You know, we had
were in there.
Yeah, we had all these. We had Proud and Powerful still, kind of, but not really. You know, we had all these teams, and they're all slowly gone. And some of the ones that aren't gone have just, they never pulled the trigger on, like Best Friends, which I don't blame the company fully on that. That's mostly on trend for getting hurt every 5 matches, but you know, like
that's true.
There's just so much less now, and now all we have left are the talents that were lower card, and none of those talents, besides the Acclaimed, figured out how to get over, which, you know, is to either rap or say cancel worthy shit, which, like, you know, between 3 out of the 4 of us, we have that covered here. But like, you know, I'll say something that might get us canceled. James and Chad rap, you know. Rev, what are you bringing to that formula?
I keep the show on track.
You
I'm the
absolutely
4th.
keep the show on track.
You're doing a great job.
No, but you got a point. Like, after you get past the Bucks and the Lucha Brothers and FTR, who are obviously out right now, so like you can't really count them, and the Acclaimed, like there aren't really any other tag teams that are that over. You have guys who have like little spurts, like Top Flight, for example. You know, they'll go in, they'll have a good match, and people cheer for them, and then they go away again. And they've kind of killed Best Friends, so it's like okay, you've lost some of these tag teams, build other ones up, and either they just haven't done that, or the ones they've tried to haven't really gotten over. I mean, they've also buried, like, the Beaver Boys too. All they do is win on dark. Yeah, they have the most wins this year in AEW, but you can build them at least to a tag title shot, And I mean, are we going to count Lethal and Jeff Jarrett as
apparently?
Absolutely. Whoa.
Yeah,
more so than the tag champs, more so than a lot of teams.
So that's like right now, what, your second best tag team, because that isn't involved in the trios, except I guess with the Lucha Bros, they came back right now. So, but still, like, at least that's the one that elicits the second most reaction out of crowds because they love booing Jeff Jarrett. So it's amazing the precipitous fall off of this division because it was so good, like you were saying. And I guess just because it was so top heavy, they couldn't feature, the lower guys to try to get them a little push, a little buzz. And now it's just a bunch of guys who are right now mid card at best. It's so weird, and it's really unfortunate. And I don't know whether or not they pulled the tag team title change just to try to put a little more buzz into the division, but I think we can all agree, Chad, that it was pretty fucking dumb.
I mean, when I actually saw this segment and match, I finally kind of stopped and was like, oh, okay, I really don't know what the fuck is going on. This was the moment where I was like, okay, I haven't watched the product in months, literally, because what the fuck was this? Again, I'm with Danny. The rap was amazing, and then after that, I was just like, what? I just, again, I feel super out of place. You guys have to forgive me. I haven't watched Dynamite in literally, I think, 2-3 months. So everything to me that was supposed to be fresh and invigorating and dope and all that, I didn't see it tonight. This was a letdown. The match was cool, I guess, but I didn't really want to
standard, really
see it. Like, yeah, it was. I don't know. I'm just.
So we're gonna do a quick segment, a new segment here on the Market Down podcast, where we look at a segment as a whole and we answer a simple yes or no question. Could this have just simply been replaced with a woman's segment?
Yes.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I understand wanting to get the Acclaim their win back, but yeah, it probably could have been.
Yeah, there we go. That's the way to sum up this segment. And that's my favorite team and probably maybe favorite act in the whole company. But, it came at the cost of having to see Lee Moriarty and Big Bill team up. I don't want to see Big Bill team up with anyone that's not Enzo,
This could easily have been a Rampage match and you replace it with a women's segment and they Acclaim still get their win back and everybody's okay.
Yeah.
But I don't think put them on Dynamite. They pop ratings.
They could have, they could have had them come out. First of all, don't you guys think they should be in the Battle Royal? But that's all,
Who's this? Who should be in the Battle Royal?
The Acclaimed. Like,
they should just. I don't mind them just cashing in a rematch clause.
But to make it a fatal
four-way,
to make it a fatal four-way, that's dumb. They should have at least just won the Battle Royal then if they're gonna fight. As babyfaces, fight your way through, win the Battle Royal, and that's how you guys. Otherwise, it's because you know what, the Battle Royal thing is stupid, and we'll talk about that soon. But just have them rap. Even if they're not in the Battle Royal, have them come out and have them cast a rap and diss everyone in the fucking Battle Royal. That actually sounds like that would have been entertaining.
That would have been fun.
I guess you could have just taken the entire length of this match and have him do it, or do it while they're having the Battle Royal. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't understand where rematch clauses came from because those weren't a thing in AEW, which I mentioned last week. But I'm curious to see who wins next week's Casino Battle Royal to be the fourth team, because I think that should be a team that. Because I don't think they're probably going to win. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be either the Guns or the Acclaimed. But I think whoever is in the Battle Royal should be a team that they should start to push. They should have a really good showing, start to push, get a new fresh team, some momentum here, because like we were just saying, this tag division is in rough shape right now.
So they alluded to it last week that they're probably going to bring in an outside team for this. And considering it's a different type of battle royal, it's a casino battle royal, there's going to be a Joker team.
Ooh.
I don't know who that could be. I'm at a loss. I know JD. Please go ahead.
It's going to be Motor City Machine Guns.
That's who my brain goes to too, but I also think I'm just being really hopeful. And I don't even want them in it because they're not going to win. So why even put them in the match?
It's going to be Beer Money.
Mustache Mountain.
Eric in the chat says probably FTR. They could make their return.
I won't even care.
Yeah. I will say Aussie Open was in the Battle Royal tonight, unannounced, I might add.
Yeah.
Well, they were announced, but like I would have made a bigger deal of it. And I do believe that Excalibur said they'll be back again next week. So
they'll be on Rampage.
Oh, they're going to be on
They're taking on the Bucks.
Their other shot? Okay.
They're going to job to the Bucks before House of Black beats up the Elite.
Yeah, excited.
I want to get into that, by the way, later. So
we will, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
But let us move on to a segment that came up very quickly after that match ended, which was the Christian Cage interview.
I got this. No, don't even bother. Don't even bother. I gotta say what happened. I gotta say what happened. Well, so Christian is coming out for an interview after making a heroic return to television last week after what could have been a career-ending injury for someone at his age. So this legend, this Hall of Famer, this wise sage who's only here to pass on knowledge to the younger generation is just here to give a thankful and grateful promo to the crowd and basically thank everyone for supporting him and say how happy he is to be back. You know, something like Adam Cole was doing, you know.
And before he could even the assault of Jungle Boy last week, or the attempted assault from which he had to defend himself.
Yeah, exactly. And then out of nowhere, like the fucking little coward that he is, Jungle Boy attacks poor old man Christian Cage and just assaults him and goes to end his fucking career that's hanging on by a thread by attempting a concerto. But luckily, Christian is smart and savvy enough to counter that and hit him with a very weak-looking low blow, albeit. And then, you know, proceeded to beat the shit out of him, bust Jungle Boy open like the little piece of shit deserves, you know? Like, sometimes in wrestling, there's a lot you can take out of it. There's real life lessons and values you can learn. And other times there's not, because in situations like this, you know, like, I don't know if any of you guys subscribe to the theory that, like, you know, sometimes some people really do just need to get hit in the face to learn a lesson, you know?
Absolutely.
Well, Jungle Boy is one of those people, and Christian is the heroic fatherly figure that's doing that for us. Jesus. You know, so anyway, that's what happened. So now that I explained it, I'm going to throw it to you, Rev. What did you think of this segment? What were your opinions on it? You don't have to recap it. I already recapped it. So what did you think about it?
No, that's fair. The only thing I was going to say was that for some odd reason, Jungle Boy hesitated, which allowed Christian quickly think on his feet. And, you know, unfortunately, he had to resort to, you know, a less than scrupulous tactic. But, hey, you know, he's getting assaulted by this guy who's about to end his career. You got to do what you got to do. So,
yeah, and I'd say the only reason that maybe he hesitated, because not everyone's like us, where we would hit our dad in a heartbeat. You know, at least he probably thought about it a little bit. He's like, well, he's not that bad a guy, so why am I doing this? You know?
Yeah, that was probably it. And I would also like to point out that the way Christian bloodied Jungle Boy was that he repeatedly slammed his head into the chair that had been set up for the concerto until the medical staff came out to check on Christian, obviously, because he was viciously assaulted. So I like this. I like this a lot. It was good. I'm glad Christian was able to stand tall here and, you know, once again, thwart the evilness that is Jungle Boy. Right,
a lot of baby faces standing tall so far this show. You okay there, buddy?
Our sponsor hasn't sent us any product in a while, so I'm in need of a Tylenol.
We are not sponsored by Tylenol.
Yet. But this was a good segment. I want it to end, you know. Just I don't think they're announced for a match, but just let it happen at Revolution so we can move on. And
got a good prediction for that one. I think that perfect babyface heel. Perfect babyface Taurus. Sorry, I'm speaking too quickly, but the babyface Luchasaurus will rescue Christian Cage from dastardly heel Jungle Boy at Revolution in some way, shape, or form. And it's gonna
Sounds
be great.
beautiful.
I like it.
Whatever.
Chad, your thoughts on this segment, because I think we just completely broke James. Again.
I absolutely agree with you guys. I'm a little tired of this. To come back and this is still going on was a little.
To be fair, it wasn't going on while you were gone.
Yeah,
waited
okay.
for you.
Okay.
Well,
Christian was gone the same amount of time you were gone.
Pretty much. Yeah,
Okay,
Christian,
so
I believe,
he was
tore his
doing
biceps.
Christian shit.
Yeah, so he had left and then came back last week with the brace still on that he had been wearing before he disappeared from television for a while to get the surgery. And Jungle Boy tried to be a dick and use that as a way to attack him because thought he was still injured. But Christian, being a very smart man, had brought pepper spray to defend himself and was able to take out Jungle Boy, revealing that his arm was okay. So this is the payoff to that feud. It just obviously got delayed due to the Christian injury.
Immediately take that comment down. I'm glad Christian is winning the feud.
He should be. He's the face.
Yeah. Babyface gotta stand tall, man. You gotta make him look strong.
Edge is really just trying to copy Christian.
Absolutely.
100%.
He's been
He
doing it
wishes.
for years. Since 98.
Oh, Adam.
If
Adam.
Vince didn't hate Christian, this would probably be a completely different scenario. But
How do you hate Christian? I mean,
because
honestly.
it's Vince, he wanted to
Because
put a blue
apparently
dot on his face.
Apparently, he's hideous.
Oh, he probably banged Vince's mom.
Apparently he's what?
Hideous.
Oh yeah, I
She's
guess
alive,
he's
dude.
not that attractive. That makes sense.
I don't think he's ugly at all. I don't think he's ugly at all. Like, do I think at that time period Edge was better looking than Christian? Yes.
I
Do I
guess
think Christian was ugly? No.
I think Christian with long hair was, but Christian with short hair is good looking.
Yeah, he looks a lot better
Yeah.
with the short
Christian
hair.
Yeah.
Christian with long hair looked very Muppet-esque. So
I think a lot of wrestlers didn't look as good with long hair as they thought they did.
agreed.
Looking at you, Wardlow.
He's kind of screwed regardless in the hair
Yeah, it
department.
doesn't look good. It really, like, they had that moving image, like the moving promo for him and Joe. Oh, God, he looks like a guy who just put on a singlet. A ripped guy, but a guy who just put on a singlet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we hope that Christian is able to overcome this assault and be with us next week on
He
Dynamite.
came out on top. What are you hoping for?
He
To
was
hear
still
his
assaulted.
voice.
James, I feel your hostility through the computer. My God.
It's
I wanna-
amazing how much he hates this.
I want to know what
this
what
absolutely
Christian
beautiful
and
man.
Jungle Boy's mom have been up to lately. You know?
All right.
Questions.
Oh, is
need
that what the
answers.
All Access show is going to be about? Oh, no, we can wait for that. That's fine.
Those are just live sex celebrations with Christian.
Moving
and
on.
people's moms.
Moving on.
So moving on, we had Saraya versus Sky Blue. This was a quick match. It was about 5 minutes, but it was very solid. A lot of interference from Tony Storm, who obviously came out with Saraya. Sky Blue actually got in some really good offense towards the end there. She hit a running knee and a drop kick, but Tony jumped onto the apron as she went for the pin and distracted the referee. So no count, no win for Sky Blue. After Tony jumped down and Sky got the referee, she turned around and immediately ate a thrust kick from Saraya. And then Saraya used her old submission move, which I don't remember the name of. And you
Paige
can't
Turner?
she had so many.
No, not the Page Turner.
Yeah.
The PTO.
PTO.
Yes, the PTO. I'm assuming we can't call that that anymore. But she brought it back. That was cool. But really, what we care about here is after the match, Saraya and Tony went to go spray paint Sky Blue again, and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Jamie Hayter, as we all know, James does hate foreigners. Jamie Hayter came down to make the save. And as Saraya and Tony Storm were going up the ramp, Ruby Soho came out and made it very clear that she wanted to challenge Jamie Hayter for the AEW Women's Championship. Well, honestly, not that much here, but it was okay.
Has Red Velvet and Sky Blue ever wrestled?
I don't know, but that would be purple.
Are you sure about that? Are you
No.
sure about that?
Would you be
No.
able to see it?
Clearly not.
Damn.
After this, we had a Bryan Danielson promo. Bryan comes out and he starts asking why MJF hates him when it's MJF who had put a bounty on his head, sent his mentor to the hospital, and tried to break the arm of a friend of his of 20 years. And then as Bryan is finishing these sentences.
Wait, did any of us talk about the Saraya Sky Blue match, or did you just recap it and we moved on?
I just recapped it and we moved on. Do you have anything to actually say about that?
No.
Thank you.
But can I make one request just to skip time a little bit? I don't have anything to say about the match, but I do have a comment to make about the promo that happened later. Can we just talk about the promo real quick?
Yeah, sure. So this took place right after the Danielson promo, and it was a backstage interview with Jamie Hayter and the aforementioned Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Jamie starts weighing her options for Revolution. She can either face Saraya, who is undefeated since her return to the ring, or she can face Ruby Soho, who she said who's been busting her ass since she came back from injury. I guess it's just undefeated one-on-one.
Singles undefeated.
Yeah. Anyway, Jamie decides that she wants to have some fun at Revolution and challenges both women to a three-way match. So, James, your thoughts?
It's just weird to see Britt Baker be so in the backseat of anything. And I appreciate it. Right? I appreciate it. I appreciate it because she's serving her role in the story, which is just to be the backup of Hayter. And I'm sure it's going to lead to the dissension between the two after this. But
okay, you cannot. And the thing is, I agree with you. I do think the dissension's finally coming, but you can't say with certainty that the dissension is coming when it should have happened over a year ago. They should have already feuded and reunited by this point. Like, this is how long this has been going on. This has been a terribly, terribly told story in terms of anything progressing or ever paying off with them. And I'm fine with them getting along now and Britt being the hype person for Jamie. But the fact that we never got the feel, like, this is just being told so poorly. They tease it so much that now I don't even care if they do it or not anymore. So they might as well just not do it.
They honestly haven't teased it in a while, though. They're just
since November, where they should have done it. Like, you can't justify this. It's bad booking on their part that's just been so long that people have forgotten. But like, they've been having dissension for over a year.
No, I agree.
Never paid it off.
I think it was an example of just bad timing where we've seen so many teams betray each other, or even more with like the MJF Wardlow situation. You didn't want to pull that story twice in a row. And then you had Swerve and Our Glory breakup. And it's been a thing. It's been a thing. Even Christian and Jungle Boy was another example of that betrayal storyline. So I guess now is the time. Like, they've cleared the schedule for everyone else. Now they can do it, and next year we'll get to somebody else. But I do like that this does feel like it's going to have a different dynamic. You touched on it, I think, a week or two ago, Danny, that we've naturally found a way to turn Jamie face. And by extension, Britt is technically face too, but not because of any actions on her own part. She's just sort of there on the face side. So I think it's going to be it's not even a heel turn if she does betray Jamie. And I think it's a nice little twist. Like, I think it's going to be a well-done execution of what they tried doing with Scorpio Sky and Dan Lambert last year, where it was like they were baby faces because they were against Sammy Guevara, but then they immediately turned heel again just because. And I think this is going to be how that story should have played out.
Also, I'd like to say that I like how Ruby is finally being portrayed well and booked well.
Yep. She don't give an F. She don't give an F about nothing. She is here for the title, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I like how she's being booked in all this. I think this is finally the best she's looked, honestly, since she first came in and won the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying this version of Ruby. She's being assertive, and she's just like, I don't want to deal with your bullshit. I just want the title, and I'm really enjoying that. All right, back to the Bryan Danielson promo. Like I said, he came out with those opening comments questioning why MJF hates him, and this prompts MJF to come out and explain why. He starts explaining that everyone he's ever opened up with opened up to has left him until he found a woman that he opened up to and proposed to, and she also left him. So also, no one's really sure if that's true or not, because as most of us know, he did get engaged a few months back or maybe a year ago, and she's pretty much wiped all mentions of Max off of her social media stuff, according to the internet. So,
and most
probably
importantly,
working, but
the crowd chanted "You deserve it" to him, which is fucking brutal.
that was yeah. If it's true, that's rough. But MJF is so deep in the kayfabe that I don't know whether or not it's true. Either way, Max goes on to say that the only thing that will give him unconditional love is his title, while Bryan has the love of his crowd, a wife who loves him, and 2 children, all things that MJF will never have. So he says he hates Bryan because of, after all the head injuries and concussions that Bryan had, that Bryan is still out here wrestling, risking all of these things that Max can't have just because he wants the spotlight. MJF calls him an addict, like his mentor, William Regal, who he mentioned he put into the hospital, and he says he's going to do the same to Bryan, saying that Bryan is addicted to the spotlight. He then starts to address Bryan's children directly into the camera. Says that he's going to beat Danielson for an hour, rip his arm out of his socket so he can't play with his children, and as he's making his way into the ring, starts saying that he's going to give Bryan early onset CTE. And right as he starts to say the E, Bryan just nails him in the head with a right hand, and the brawl is on. Security comes out. There was a pull apart. You know, guys keep breaking away from each other and going after them until MJF finally rolls out of the ring. And when Bryan notices this, Bryan also rolls out of the ring, picks up a head of steam, and just absolutely fucking levels MJF right in front of the timekeeper's area. And then we went to the commercial as security jumped on them again. So, James, you were saying in our group chat as this was happening, this seemed like a bit of an odd direction for MJF. I thought it was a solid one. I think it adds layers to his anger and the reason why he's such a prick. But I guess you disagree?
So I want to say I think this segment was everything I've been wanting from this story for a while. I've been saying how I needed Bryan and MJF to get physical finally, that it's been a long time coming, and I'm glad they delivered on that. I'm very appreciative of that, and it was a good old-fashioned brawl, good old-fashioned pull-apart. I love that.
Never get old.
There were aspects of it that didn't necessarily work for me. Bryan just said, "Don't talk about my kids or I will kick the shit out of you," and then proceeds to let MJF talk to his kids. he could have run after him.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
Beyond that, when I said it's a weird direction to take MJF, I think I'm realizing it wasn't necessarily a weird direction for the character. It's a good direction for the character to add nuance, to add layers, like you said, make him more of an onion. But I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about MJF, and not in a good way. This doesn't feel like, oh man, there are so many levels and layers. I don't know if I'm supposed to feel bad for him. I don't know if I'm supposed to hate him. I don't know if I'm supposed to feel sympathetic or hope he turns it around. His story is just so inconsistent. We were the story he told a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, about the girlfriend that he switched places in the car with. That is a completely unsympathetic story. He's a bastard, coded bastard with bastard nougaty filling. And now they're trying to make him sympathetic again. But yes, I will. No, I won't, because I'm used to it at this point.
Yeah,
Bryan's just going to lose.
Shout out to Hobo Johnson in the comment section. Thanks for popping in.
But I don't know if they know where they want to take MJF. I don't know that they know how they want to treat his character. I know that they're putting effort into it. I know that they're putting care into it. But I feel like there needs to be a little more consistency, and it needs to be a little less muddy. If you want him to be the bad guy, he could be the bad guy. He doesn't need to be a sympathetic bad guy. It's good that there's layers to him, but he doesn't need to be a sympathetic bad guy. Like, Roman isn't a sympathetic bad guy, but he's got layers to him. There is nuance to that character.
Yeah.
But MJF there's just so much going on with him, and I don't need all of it. I don't need all of it.
If you agree with James, raise your hand.
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming from. I just disagree. I kind of like the idea, and I know it adds a little bit of sympathy to him, but I just like the. And you're right. It is weird to know whether or not he's telling the truth.
So let me ask you this: this story that he told tonight, do you feel bad for him?
I don't necessarily feel bad for him. I think it just gives you a better window into why he's such a dick.
But this was a recent thing. His fiance leaving him, clearly a recent thing because he proposed.
It was just the most recent thing. Because he said his entire life that, well, I guess the part about him finally opening up, but no, he said that his entire life, everybody who he opened up to left, so he stopped. And then he met her, and he did it again, and he got left again.
So that means he can't help himself, and he's a bad guy who just keeps doing bad things.
Probably, but he doesn't see himself like that. He just feels like somebody who can't be. He thinks he's somebody who can't be loved, so he's just going to lead into that. So yeah, he is the bad guy, but that's why he's the bad guy.
Punk
because
wanted to love him.
He doesn't think anybody can love him, so he's going to just lean into it, and this is why.
I get it. And again, I think tonight was a good promo. It was in a vacuum. This was good. I just think I need more. I don't know. I like his direction. That's all. That's all.
No, that's fair.
But I will say, I think this was one of his better promos in a long time. I think he's been consistently building up again in my eyes.
Yeah, whenever we always say this, whenever he just doesn't fall back onto his cliches and stuff, he's a phenomenal promo. It's just sometimes he ends up falling back into those for a couple of weeks when he's trying to figure out what to do next. And, he can be a little, hit or miss. What up, Navarro? Good to see you, man. We're pretty much on the same boat. The show is okay. The opening match was great. Some of the stuff storyline, I think we're with you, is a little uneven at best. Chad, I guess you haven't seen much of the MJF Bryan Danielson interactions of late, but how'd you feel about jumping into this one ice cold?
I love this one. I mean, I've been waiting for Bryan to do anything of substance. I mean, I know he's been pushing younger talent or whatever he says he's doing, but I've been waiting for him to be here in the main title spot for a while, besides the Kenny Omega situation that didn't really happen in my eyes. So for me, it was good. I liked it. I mean, MJF was firing on all cylinders as well. I don't know what direction it's supposed to go in, so I can't really argue with James, even though I really, really, really want to so badly. But I kind of just can't. I don't really know what's going on, but I loved it. I enjoyed it.
All right, yeah, and I think, like I said, James, it's just a differencing of opinion. So I could see why, Chad, you coming in without seeing the rest of it that we've seen the last couple of weeks, why you would like it in a vacuum, like James said, but not necessarily have an opinion on that on his direction. Danny, where do you stand on all this?
Okay.
He's sitting right now, though.
Just adjusted his tie. 2 minutes.
This is so good. This feud and this story is so good that I'm actually mad that it's happening right now. This feels like the end of MJF's title reign. This feud is so good that it's making me believe that his title reign is coming to an end, and it makes me think this should be happening at the end of the year. So like Bryan should be the one to go. They should have waited on this feud. This feud is too good to be the first major feud after winning the title. So this is actually kind of bullshit. That's the only thing. This is not what James said at all, but I agree with him. This is bullshit because this feud should be the last one of MJF's title reign because it's been so good. Brian is so over. This is the most over he's been since he first fucking walked in and since Hangman ruined him. It is so good. It's unbelievable. This is on par with the Punk feud. And I think once the match is over, I will definitively say it was better than the Punk feud. I think MJF's promos every week of this feud have been good. I don't know what bad drugs you guys are on, but you need to get on some good drugs. I'll put you in touch with some people who can help you with that. But yeah, no problem. Actually, John Butler, can you drop a reference in the chat? Anyway, I am such a fan of this feud. I hate that because where were me and James at the beginning of this feud? We were pissed that this happened because Brian just keeps losing all his feuds and losing all his pay-per-view matches and losing all his big matches. And I will feel that way once the match is over. I will remember that feeling. It will come back. But right now, I think this feud has been so good. This feels like what Brian should have always been doing. And I think he is making MJF look so good. He is bringing something out of MJF that the Punk didn't do in the same way. I'm sorry I keep comparing the two, especially because I feel like, I'm in the minority on that. But I am such a fan of this feud. I'm pissed how much I'm enjoying this because I know I'm going to be mad once it's over. And I'm just going to, Brian's going to go back to not winning. But, between, you could say all MJF feuds are the same, and to a degree they are, but the format is fine and it works. And the feuds are all different because he approaches them from a different perspective. I don't know. I like the way he hates Brian. He made it more personal than it already was. He beat the shit out of William Regal. And a real quick aside, when he said he put Regal in the hospital and he'll do the same to Brian, I guess Brian WWE return confirmed. I guess that's what that means. But he took it from a feud that was just about revenge. And it was, personal for Brian, but not necessarily personal for MJF with Brian. So now it is personal with Brian because he sees Brian as something he can't achieve and something he wants, or he's trying to convince himself he doesn't want or need anymore, and that all he needs is the title. And I think there's just another nice layer of MJF's psyche when it comes to the title and how much it means to him and how much of his identity he has instantly woven into this title, which again makes the title feel like a bigger deal. I genuinely am not doing this as a dig at you, James, but more so than when Kenny was champ, more so than when Hangman was champ. This is part of his identity. It was not part of those guys' identity. Kenny to a degree, because I liked Mad Scientist Kenny. I was a fan when most people weren't a fan of that version of Kenny. I enjoyed that. Yeah. But the same way, and that's why Jericho, I think, was still technically the best champion until this, because even though it was only 4 months, it was his identity for that time. He was
literally Le Champion.
Yeah. So I think that's what MJF is doing beautifully. So yeah, Brian's going to lose at the end of this feud, and I'm going to be pissed. James is going to be pissed. Chad is going to feel no emotions. Rev is going to feel no emotions, but that's because he's a sociopath, which is so weird because I'm a sociopath, but I feel emotions, it's so weird how we're so similar but different in that regard. But I think this is phenomenal. And I had no problem with this promo this week because, again, bad people have feelings too. Bad people get sad too. Bad people want to kill themselves too. That's not just a good guy thing, So yeah, I have no problems with that. I think everything James said was, completely and utterly wrong. But that's fine. It's his opinion. He can have it. But yeah, I think this feud has been sufficient, more than sufficient. It's been wonderful. I'm annoyed at how much I'm enjoying it because it's leading to something I'm sick of seeing, which is Brian lose. But
I also think there's there's a bigger problem than just Brian losing.
What's
I
that?
don't know how MJF follows this feud.
Good
Oh
point.
yeah, but that's also like, I don't give a fuck after that. I don't care about the next challenger. I think it has to be Cole because he has that sympathy of coming back.
Yeah. I know a lot of people want Eddie Kingston to win the title
No,
off of him
Eddie's
in
fall. You
Grand
got to do
Slam.
fall. Yeah.
Yeah, at Grand Slam. So I think MJF is going to hold it at least to then. But if they do want to do a title change, and I don't think they're going to do it at the next pay-per-view, although I'm not entirely sure when it would be, I do think Adam Cole is one of their better bets to end up taking the title off of MJF in the future. And just to go back to what you were saying, Danny, MJF is this character where, he's comes off as, with all his bravado and, tries to come from a position of strength. But Regal exposed him when he was still there. MJF's a scared, insecure kid. And he hides by trying to be this, absolute prick who tries to always do the most evil thing to hide who he really is. And the only thing that proves to him that he's not that person is the title. And every once in a while, he accidentally gets frustrated enough to expose some of that to us. And I think tonight was one of those instances where he actually was telling the truth. He exposed to us why he is the way he is. And I think it's a really cool layer to his character. I think another time he did it was when, he was telling that story to Punk. And I do think he did it strictly to sucker Punk in, but I do also think he knew that he had to tell the truth in order to sucker Punk in that situation. So it's nice in one of those little situations where you're actually seeing what I think is the real side of MJF versus the bravado and the shield that he puts up. But we have spent a lot of time on this, so let us move on. We can have this discussion more as we continue to Revolution. And speaking of Revolution, we had the Revolution Tag Team Battle Royal. I'm going to breeze through this as fast as possible because it was very long, and we're going a bit long tonight. So Mark Briscoe came out during the early stages of the match. He went after Josh Woods, and that allowed the Lucha Brothers to eliminate Tony Nese and Ari Daivari. Butcher and the Blade ended up eliminating Aussie Open, which was weird because they feel like they barely focused on those guys. You'd think they'd focus on the New Japan guys going over. Preston Vance was eliminated by Penta, who was then taken out by Rush and Vance, and then Rush was eliminated by Ray Phoenix. And then LFI is beating down Penta as they work their way up the ramp. Danhausen curses 2.0, and they're eliminated by his best friends. And then Jeff Jarrett eliminated Chuck Taylor. Jeff ended up going after Trent during the commercial break, beat him down on the outside, hit him with a chair, had Butcher hold him so he could kick him in the dick. Ray Phoenix then eliminated Butcher, and then Lethal took advantage to eliminate Phoenix. So you have the final three of Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, and Trent Beretta. Trent actually almost eliminates both of those guys, but Satnam Singh prevents the two of them from getting eliminated. And Double J is able to hit the stroke and tries to eliminate Trent. Trent hangs on, and while the other two are celebrating, Orange Cassidy comes from under the ring, puts Trent on his shoulders, and walks him back over to the stairs. And then when Trent gets back in the ring, Sanjay Dutt tries to hold Trent in place while Lethal eliminates him, but it backfires on them, and Lethal is eliminated by Trent. Danhausen then chases Sanjay to the back while Trent goes to eliminate Jarrett, but he is again caught by Satnam Singh. Singh throws Jarrett back into the ring. He hits the stroke again and eliminates Trent to pick up the win and the third spot in the tag title four-way match at Revolution.
Whew. Bravo.
Thank you. As is tradition, this was a mess. I feel like all the battle royals that AEW does are a mess. But Chad, what'd you think?
Well, I actually commented it, so I'll just say that. 1, I hate Rush. 2, the best friends should have won. And 3, why the fuck is Jeff Jarrett winning matches in 2023? I need answers.
He's actually been doing fairly well in AEW.
He's been doing much better than I want him to do.
Yeah, but he's been getting such good heat that it's actually a good position. He's winning enough, and then he goes and then gets heat, and then when people like the Acclaimed go against him, it works.
He looks kind of great, and I hate saying that because I don't like Jeff Jarrett. I don't know anyone who does. Do you guys like Jeff Jarrett?
No, but I respect him for letting Caster diss him so much in raps, even though his dad just died, so hats off to him.
He dissed him so much in raps that it caused real-life marital problems. Brilliant.
Which is a dream come true for a rapper, I would assume. James,
Yeah.
Chad, if you can shed some light on that.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I've enjoyed Jarrett's work in AEW. I think he's done great in his role. So
He has. It's disgusting, but yeah.
I agree.
Fair.
Oh man.
Danny, what'd you think of this?
You know what's weird is I did not see or comprehend any of the first half of this match. The Lucha Bros were in this. Aussie Open were in this. I had no idea. That's wild.
They didn't really tell you who the fuck was in this. They just kind of expected you to notice yourself.
No,
it was
actually,
very clusterfuckish.
I knew the Lucha Bros were in because the fucking audio was so bad during the Jamie Hayter promo that I could hear the Zero Miedo chants. And then I'm like, why is the audio from the arena playing while they're doing this backstage interview? I thought this guy was hired to fix this fucking shit. I was like, what is going on? I could barely hear Jamie talk. And then halfway through the promo, all of a sudden that goes quiet and you hear it clearly. And I'm like, oh, this is so bad. But I had no idea Aussie Open were in this. And I didn't see the Lucha Bros do a goddamn thing in this match. I didn't see the entire first half of this. But the end of this match was so fun. It was such bullshit and so much shenanigans, but it was so much fun. But like Chad said, the best friend should have won. What's up, Jinx? But the best friend should have won. There was no reason not to do that. Like, I'm in two minds about it because, like we just said, Jarrett's been doing a really good job despite no one liking him. Like, he's done a really good job. But like, why is the tag title match just three teams who have been feuding for the past few months already? Why not just give it to the best friends? Why not give anything to the best friends? Like, how over does Orange Cassidy have to be to fucking get these guys something? Like, holy shit, bro. Like, that was so much cool. Like, if Trent won for his team right there, we talk about this so differently, and this is like amazing.
Yep, I agree.
But instead, it's just bullshit. It's just all bullshit. It's like, it doesn't matter how good the ending was when the result is bad, you know? And like, I mean, I guess technically Jarrett winning for his team is better than who would you say was in this match?
Jeff Jarrett and Jay
Butcher
Lethal.
and Blade.
Yeah.
They lasted much longer than they needed to.
Butcher lasted a while.
Yosemite Sam.
You might as well.
Butcher?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
might as well though, because you know they're at least a tag team still. You know, you got to actually give these guys something now. You know, but
Yeah,
this is just dumb.
I obviously didn't mention a lot of teams. Top Flight was in this. The Beaver Boys were in this. Like, there was a lot of teams that were in this that I just didn't have time to write down because it's just so chaotic when they do these things.
Yeah, so let's say hypothetically FTR is the surprise team next week and they win. That's still four teams that have been mixing it up a lot lately. Like, that's still FTR and the Ass Boys again. That's FTR and the Acclaimed again, which should happen again, but should just be the two teams going 2-on-2. That's the Acclaimed facing three teams they've all faced in the last 3 months. Like, this was bad booking. And I'm not like super mad because again, I think Jarrett's been really good. He's been carrying Jay Lethal. What a weird world we live in where Jay Lethal needs to be fucking carried, but like
I agree. Wow.
Yeah,
well
it's
said.
weird. It's fucking weird, but like, so I'm not upset that he has it, but I'm just upset that it's just it's just more of the same. It's literally more of the same.
Same old shit, as they say, James.
I said it when we were in our private chat. It made sense from a story point of view. Of course, they're the ones who have been involved in a feud with the Acclaimed, so put them in the match.
But they lost to them multiple times already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. This felt weird and lazy. This felt weird and lazy. And the best friends just Danny hit the nail on the head. We would have been talking about this match so much more positively if Trent had that hero moment.
Yeah, because it would have revitalized them.
And if anything, this made them look bad. Trent could not win with the help of Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. Like, I know the numbers were on the other side too. Like, Slapnuts were slapping around tonight, but
But you have the power of your two of the most over baby faces and top
Exactly.
merch
And you
sellers.
still can't win. You still can't win.
That damn 1 in a billion Satnam Singh.
I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood. It sucks. I'm trying to think who next week would make sense from a storyline standpoint. It has to be, right? It has to be.
Unless
but that is lackluster.
Unless they're bringing in some big team from Impact or Japan or beer money, then yeah, I don't know who else it could be that would have that big of a, no pun intended, that big of an impact.
Maybe with all the how prevalent best friends were in this, maybe to get some revenge, it's Sue and Okada that win, and they get added into the match.
The power levels are so
Sue doesn't need Okada.
Well, she needs a partner. You know, it's a tag team match. Like, she needs a body just to stand there, not to do anything, not to help.
I guess
she literally needs another person there.
I guess that's fair.
All right, I guess we'll see what comes of all of that next week. But like I said, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal inserted into that four-way match for the tag titles at Revolution. I'm gonna breeze through some of the next stuff. We had the House of Black promo. They came out after the Elite's win on Friday, and they have reiterated that there's a disease in AEW and that they need to eradicate it, obviously the disease being the Elite. And they invite the Elite to sit down and discuss their status as AEW Trios champions on Friday on Dynamite. Cool.
So they're very pro CM Punk is what I took away from that.
Yep.
I am very upset because I've wanted this feud since I knew they were going to win the titles, and it feels like a fucking afterthought.
Yeah, because it's happening all on Rampage, like almost all of it.
Well,
which is
giving the Elite the titles again.
Yeah, we're all in agreement on that one.
No, we're not. No, we're not. Because did we want House of Black versus Death Triangle again? Because that's what you're going to get. That's what you would have gotten instead.
Yeah,
no.
Sure.
That's
fine. Again.
As long as House of Black wins, yeah, it's fine.
This version of Death Triangle, yeah, absolutely.
At least the Elite had the common fucking courtesy to make the best of 7 all happen in one, as opposed to the 10 months that it took for Death Triangle versus House of Black to happen.
Which for some reason,
well, did the Elite bring in Eric Redbeard? You know,
did the Elite bring in Eric Redbeard?
No, they didn't.
Dark Order did it first. South Park did it first.
A quick answer to Navarro's question. I think either the Ass Boys retain or they drop it to the Acclaimed, depending on who this fourth team is. But I think that's a question we're not going to be able to answer until next week.
That's really funny. I thought you were going to say, I think the Ass Boys either retain or drop it. And I'm like, yeah, those are the two options.
Those are the options.
The only.
Well, I have 50-50. I would be right either way then. So
he's playing both sides, so he always comes out on top.
Sides. Yep. After that, we had Tony Khan's big announcement where he announced Adam Cole will make his big announcement. And that big announcement was a new AEW show called All Access that'll be on after Dynamite on Wednesdays. I don't know how this was the big announcement when it literally leaked online via both Reddit and Spectrum Cable for some odd reason that Forbidden Door 2 is coming, and they've announced the date. There are also rumors in that Reddit post that they're trying to have it at the Tokyo Dome, but we'll see. Apparently, there's a concert going there. I don't know, but
we'll see.
Weird fucking announcement. I don't know why this was hyped up to be such a big thing. Just okay. Also, I guess the bigger news is that Adam Cole will be making his in-ring debut on Dynamite the night of the premiere of AEW All Access. So glad to see Adam Cole back. Then we went backstage with Jeff Jarrett and the Slapnuts. They were celebrating their win when the Ass Boys came over with the proposition. The Guns suggest that perhaps they help each other take care of their business and then just go 2-on-2 for the tag titles at Revolution instead of having the four-way match. Jarrett says that he'll handle their business when they handle their own, but Sanjay and Jay Lethal seem a little more receptive to the idea. So expect some beatdowns in the next week or so. And then we hit the
main
event.
1 week, but yeah.
Well, you know, you have rampages and darks and stuff. So.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
Yeah,
1 week.
Sure, Jan. Anyway, our main event was Jon Moxley versus Evil Uno. During Mox's entrance, we actually saw Uno and Hangman watching the entrance from the back, and you could kind of see Uno make a gesture to remind Hangman that he wants him to stay backstage during the match and not to come out. Also, Mox is going for his 100th win in AEW, and he would be the first member of the roster to do so, which is a cool little subplot for all of this. Uno came out of this match starting really hot. He controls the early parts of the match, even after Moxley starts to tear off his mask. Uno actually sends Moxley to the outside right after he does that with a big boot and then hits a diving senton to the floor. Eventually, though, Mox takes control by luring Uno back outside of the ring and throwing him into the steps, and then followed that up by stomping his head into the steps, which busted Uno wide open. And there was a lot of blood in this. Holy shit. Mox came back into the ring and laid in a series of cross faces, but Uno surprisingly recovered very quickly and hits 2 pile drivers that Mox kicked out of. Mox then locks in the Bulldog choke after doing a step behind, and Uno honestly fought for a while between a series of different chokeholds until Moxley got the leg hooks in and put Uno out, and the referee had to stop the match. After the match, Moxley refused to release the hold, and Silver and Reynolds come out to push Moxley off of Uno, and then Claudio and Wheeler Yuta came out to fight Silver and Reynolds. So Hangman comes out to go after Moxley, and he beats up Moxley with the barbed wire wrapped fist until he goes to the buckshot, and Moxley heads up the ramp to escape. So this was the second best match of the night, but only because the other ones were just, it kind of just happened. But James, like I said, this was really bloody. I think Uno went a little too deep on the blade, but I think it made it look visually cooler, especially during the chokehold where the blood was just pouring out of the hole that Moxley ripped.
It wasn't pouring out. It was being squeezed out.
Yeah. And like a fucking orange. And it was just
or a Capri Sun.
and orange Capri Sun. Art of compromise. So no, but I thought that was a great visual. I thought Uno looked like $1 million here, and I really, really enjoyed this match.
I loved it. I was looking forward to this so much from last week when it got announced. Uno is, I think, one of AEW's most underrated and underappreciated wrestlers, and I'm so happy he got a main event where he got to shine against one of the best talent in the company in Jon Moxley. It's a weird thing. Moxley always wrestles like a dick, but he's always been a babyface. And I think we saw it earlier tonight with the BCC being a little more aggressive with Yuta and Claudio. Moxley was next level aggressive, ripping at the mask, squeezing the blood out, throwing him into the steps, and then, just not letting go of the hold. This was a very different Mox, and it's scary. This is a scary Mox, and it's been a while since Mox has felt scary. So I'm in for it. Uno looked great. He looked aggressive. He didn't look scared. He brought it to Mox. It wasn't a one-sided beatdown.
He was winning most of the match.
He looked great, and I don't want to hope anymore. I don't want to believe in anything, but man, I just want a Dark Order resurgence. Bring in some new guys. I'm all for it. It's just, no notes. I love this match. I love this match. I love this story. And I kind of wish they had an extra minute or two at the end to let it breathe a little bit more. But all for it.
Yeah, it was a shame that they ran out of time a bit. I got to agree with you about bringing Dark Order back up and, bringing them back up their power levels. I'm kind of hoping that this showing by Uno maybe bring some more respect to them as people saw what he did with Jon Moxley, the way he was able to hang in there, the way that he, that he didn't tap out. So I hope that. As for Moxley, like you said, I think maybe the BCC being so violent and constantly, training with each other and pushing each other, but perhaps they've pushed each other too far into the violence. And that's the cause for this heel turn where they're just constantly just trying to kick the shit out of people, even when they shouldn't be, because they were a respectful group, even though they were violent in the ring. After that, it was usually it was done. It was over. Now you're seeing it spilling over to things after the bell rings. Moxley not letting go of the hold, and then Wheeler and Claudio coming out to, beat up the Beaver Boys. So maybe that's kind of the way they end up turning this group heel, while they have obviously kept Bryan separate for whatever reason they want. For whatever reason, I guess
he's just smart enough to avoid him.
Yeah, and he's the babyface in his feud. So just interesting dynamic, the fact that that's going on. But Danny, what do you think about all that, and what do you think of the match itself?
I mean, first of all, shout out to Jay Lethal in our chat. He thought AEW was trash, right? He said it himself. I'll put the comment up. Look at that. Jay Lethal, AEW was trash.
I don't think it was trash, but it wasn't great.
I think it was a very uneven show, but it wasn't a bad show. And
compared to last week. Oof.
First of all, I don't even think Braun Breaker's carrying NXT. I think Toxic Attraction's carrying NXT.
I think
Carmelo Hayes for days.
But
it's Booker.
Oh God, no.
He's carrying that.
What were we talking about? Oh, the main event. I don't give a fuck. I didn't care at all. How did this main event the show? What the fuck? I mean, I guess there was nothing else to main event the fucking show, but like, I think that speaks to how weak on paper the show was. That a guy who's never on TV main evented. I mean, shit, bro. Like, cool. They bled. That's neat. You think when Moxley goes to the doctor,
oh God,
the doctor just says, "You know what I'm gonna say, right?" And then Moxley's like,
forehead.
"Yeah, I know, Doc, I know." But look, I didn't give two shits about this match. I was more excited for it last week when they announced it than I was actually watching it. But it's not that it wasn't like good or anything. That's just a me thing. But I didn't give a fuck. I'm still really excited for the Hangman Moxley match. Like, that did not take away or deter me in that regard. This was just a main event I couldn't invest into when the rest of the show felt so weak. So it's more of a victim of circumstances than anything else. But I'm also tired right now, which, just me. I know you guys are full of life and energy right now, but
especially Chad.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So what did you think, Chad, about this match?
Okay, so going into it, I'm not gonna lie, I went to the bathroom because when I heard it, I was like, Mox is gonna win. I have no reason to watch this shit at all, even though I love the Dark Order. But then, after coming back from urinating,
getting explicit here on the Mark It Down podcast.
Thanks for specifying.
Gotta do what I gotta do. So yeah, after coming back from the bathroom, I watched it and I was like, oh, holy shit. Evil Uno is kind of winning. As you guys said, he was winning most of the match until the end of the match. And then I was like, okay, cool. Maybe he could win, even though I knew he wouldn't. But overall, the match was good. It's Moxley and blood. This is what he does. I like it. I mean, you either like it or you don't. It worked for me. It was fine. It definitely wasn't main event worthy, but
nothing on the show was.
I'm with Danny. If it wasn't Orange Cassidy, then I guess this had to be the main event because this was the only other good match.
Imagine a Dynamite where the Yuta Cassidy match was built to and it main evented. That sounds great. I agree, Chad. That sounds like a great reality that we're not living in, unfortunately.
Well, in retrospect, that could have been the main event. Like, that was the best match on the card. I don't think we would have
should have been the main event.
Yeah, I don't think we would have come out of that match thinking like, oh, that was a shitty main event. It was a really good match at the top of the card. I quite frankly thought they were going to be flipped because they usually end up doing title matches in the main event. And quite frankly, as much as I love this match and this feud, this didn't seem like a match that should have main evented.
Because it should not have.
Yeah, but it's just very odd placement for the match itself. I get that people are loving this feud between Hangman and Mox, and the beatdown at the end of it was supposed to be the grand finale for the show. But just the way the match was wrestled, because I feel like it was more of a story-driven thing and a violence thing than, a banger of a match the way Orange versus Wheeler was, it just seems like an odd choice for the main event. So I don't necessarily disagree with you guys there. I really did love this match. I think the way James did, just we want the Dark Order to be good again, and Evil Uno coming out there and hopefully earning the respect of some people is a good way to get that ball rolling. But that was the show. I think we can all agree, like James said, it was at best uneven, and at worst it sucked, like Jay Lethal said. But unless you guys have anything else, we can wrap things up here.
I'm going to bed.
Chad is tired. But so on that note, I'd like to thank everybody so much for watching the Mark It Down podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe if you are on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, you could would you like the group or something, or join the group? Like the page. I don't know. I haven't been on Facebook in like 15 years. Sorry, Mark Zuckerberg. Or follow us on Twitter if you're over there. If you are on Facebook or on YouTube, our socials will be in the description below. And yeah, like and subscribe. We got the podcast coming out tomorrow. We do these every Wednesday. Impact Zone is on Thursday. If you like Impact, if you're a Raw guy, you got Raw Fast Forwards on Monday with Danny, and I've been drunkenly crashing them the last couple of weeks. We'll see if I can actually sober up on a Monday for once.
You don't have to.
Yeah,
you can still drink and come in.
Sober up on a Thursday for me.
that's even harder.
Thirsty Thursday.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
But every day is Thirsty Thursday for him. He's got Thirsty Friday and Thirsty Saturday, and I know Thirsty Sunday.
This isn't an intervention podcast. I would love to do that. I would love to ambush someone with an intervention, but, this is not the time to do that. Me and Chad are tired. So, let him bring it home.
Yeah. Anyway, podcast will probably be out tomorrow unless something stupid happens, and then we will be live after Revolution in a couple of weeks. So yes, we do not go on tangents. Thank you. And to keep us from going on anymore, my name is Nick Cummings. For Danny Hernandez, Chad Big Bad Johnson, and James Asante, thank you so much for watching the Mark It Down podcast. Have a good one, everyone.
Oh boy.
Oh God.
I don't know what my only crime was being happy. That's all I did.
I hate you. Holy shit, Danny.